A cold hush settles over the world as if every sound has been swallowed, and a strange pressure hangs in the air, pushing on every thought until nothing feels steady anymore. Something unseen waits just beyond the edge of reason, bending the quiet into a shape that feels wrong. As if the shadows are watching for the moment someone finally asks the question no one wants to face. Old reports whisper of things that never should have happened, moments that slide out of order, rooms that appear, signals that freeze, and paths that loop back on themselves. Everything points toward a pattern built from fear and silence, but no one can name it yet. And just when the tension becomes too much to bear, a tiny detail shifts. A clue tilts out of place, and the truth opens like a crack in the floor. If this is the start, then what impossible thing is waiting on the other side? The silence grows heavier as the first strange clues settle into uneasy minds, creating a sense that each place touched by these events bends reality just enough to unsettle anyone watching closely. Something feels misplaced, like a familiar story told out of order. And every small detail pulls at the edges of logic until doubt creeps in like a slow leak. Footsteps echo where no one walks, lights pulse as if they are breathing, and ordinary spaces feel stretched thin by invisible pressure. It becomes clear that none of these mysteries can be understood alone. Each fragment hints at a larger pattern drawing everything together. A quiet warning moves through the air, whispering that the rules people depend on might shift without notice. And beneath that tension lies the sense that the next clue is about to break open something far stranger than expected. In a space meant to feel ordinary, the air bends with a strange weight that makes every movement feel slower, as if time itself resists the people trying to make sense of what they see. What once looked like simple confusion now carries a sharper edge, hinting that something hidden lurks inside the walls, waiting for someone to notice a crack in the story. Doubt coils around each new observation, pulling at the calm with questions that push deeper than comfort allows. A nervous expectation builds that the next discovery might not only challenge reason but shake the quiet foundation holding everything together. And behind that rising tension sits the feeling that a place meant to be safe is beginning to shift in ways that should not be possible. The hum of old equipment fills the space with a restless energy, as if every machine senses something wrong long before the people do. The steady glow of monitors becomes unsettling, their quiet flickers suggesting messages trapped beneath the surface, waiting to break through. Each small glitch feels intentional, like a warning delivered through static, and the room tightens with the tension of a secret creeping toward the light. The thought grows that this frozen moment captured by a signal is not a mistake, but a sign that time itself shifted in ways no one understands. And as the weight of that possibility sinks in, the air grows colder, urging caution with every breath. Even in the stillness of the old house, something moves beneath the quiet, turning every tick into a pulse that echoes through the walls like a faint warning. The alignment of clocks feels too perfect, almost rehearsed, and the space carries a tension that grows with each subtle sound. Shadows cling to corners longer than they should, and a creeping sense forms that the house remembers more than it should about its past. Every detail seen or heard seems to pull on a thread that could unravel a truth lying just out of reach. The steady rhythm builds until it becomes impossible to shake the feeling that someone, or something, set this pattern on purpose long before anyone stepped inside. The weight of unanswered questions tightens around the group as they try to make sense of each strange clue, and the more they compare signs, the clearer it becomes that nothing here follows the usual order of cause and effect. Each discovery bends the rules in small, unsettling ways, turning familiar places into uncertain ground. The forest seems to shift with each step. The hotel hides spaces that should not exist. The signal refuses to behave like any normal transmission, and the house ticks in a rhythm that echoes far too evenly. Doubt spreads through every thought, building a quiet sense that something bigger connects these places. The tension rises with the idea that the next piece of evidence might not reveal the truth, but instead break the fragile sense of logic they still cling to. Confusion swells inside the hallway as the strange space begins to feel more like a puzzle built from missing pieces than a simple architectural error. Tension clings to the air with every step, turning each detail into a hint of something hidden just beyond sight. The silence here feels heavier, almost staged, and the sense of being watched from behind closed walls grows stronger with each moment. Every attempt to explain the missing room falls apart under its own weight, leaving them with a growing suspicion that the building itself is shifting. A strange dread forms, pushing them to keep searching even as reason warns them to turn back. The room hums with a tension that seems to press against the skin, as if the frozen signal carries something more than simply sound. Each test they run becomes stranger than the last, leaving them with the unsettling sense that the transmission is caught between two moments in time. The silence between each flicker feels purposeful, almost as if the signal is waiting for a reaction. The distorted data becomes a riddle that pushes them deeper into uncertainty, and the growing chill in the room suggests the answer may not be something anyone is ready to face. The house carries a strange thrum beneath its floorboards, as though the walls themselves breathe in a slow, uneven rhythm. Every clock ticks in perfect harmony, yet each echo feels slightly delayed, creating the sense of two times overlapping. The deeper they search, the clearer it becomes that the house hides something far older than its dust and wood. Each drawer opened, each note uncovered, adds to the unsettling idea that someone planned every detail of this place with careful intention. And the more they look, the more they sense that these clues were never meant to be found. Across every location, doubts turn into a shared unease as the pieces begin to form patterns that should not exist. Each clue mirrors another in small but unsettling ways, as if the events were planned across different places in years by the same unseen hand. The feeling grows that these mysteries aren't random but linked through a thread woven just beneath the surface. Tension climbs with the realization that whatever connects them isn't finished revealing itself, and beneath that rising dread lies a deeper fear. Once the pattern becomes clear, there may be no turning back. The strain of each discovery pulls tighter, as every attempt to explain the strange evidence collapses under its own weight, leaving the sense that logic has begun to slip out of reach. The air grows tense with the feeling that each place holds a secret that refuses to stay still, shifting like a shadow that changes shape the moment someone looks away. What once seemed like scattered events now feels deliberately connected by threads that twist through time, bending simple clues into something far more complex. A quiet pressure builds, urging them forward even as reason warns them to stop, and each new step feels like crossing into territory shaped by rules no one can name. The deeper they push, the clearer it becomes that something unseen is guiding the pattern toward a point none of them can yet understand. The hall feels tighter now, squeezed by a heavy silence that seems to grow heavier with every passing second, as if the building itself is aware of the questions being asked. Each flicker of the dim lights feels like a warning, and the air has the strange weight of a place trying to hide its own history. Every attempt to reason through the missing room only deepens the sense that something inside the structure is shifting in ways that resist both logic and design. A quiet unease builds as they find themselves circling the same thoughts again and again, as though the hallway is steering them toward a conclusion they are not ready to face. The tension thickens until even the small sounds feel sharper than they should. The small workshop seems to pulse with an energy that pushes against every object, making the frozen signal feel less like a malfunction and more like a message trapped inside a moment that refuses to end. Each attempt to decode the strange pattern only adds to the sense that the signal is behaving with intention. Shadows seem to shift in quiet corners, and the cold in the air deepens with every glitch that appears on the screen. The tension creeps through the space like a slow-moving wave, raising the unsettling possibility that the signal may not belong to any familiar time. And as each second stretches a little too long, the fear grows that whatever sent it might still be listening. The house creaks with an unsettling rhythm, as if its old wood is reacting to something unseen moving within the walls. The consistent ticking of the clocks grows sharper, almost echoing against itself, creating the sense of overlapping moments stacked on top of one another. Every new detail uncovered seems to strengthen the idea that the place was built around a purpose that defies any normal explanation. The air grows colder with each step deeper into the rooms, and a quiet awareness settles over everything, hinting that someone once used this space to shape time in ways no one should. As the shadows shift with each swing of a pendulum, the question of why these clocks move in perfect harmony becomes heavier. Across every location, frustration mingles with a rising sense of dread as each clue that looked like a breakthrough turns into another dead end. The deeper they search, the more the pattern seems to shift, changing shape just as they begin to understand it. Every object feels slightly out of place, every timestamp bends toward impossibility, and every shadow seems to stretch in the wrong direction. Yet beneath all the confusion lies the sense that these failures are not accidents, but signs pointing toward a deeper truth waiting behind the next layer. The tension sharpens, pushing them onward, even as each answer slips further out of reach. The pressure in the air grows stronger as each test fails in ways no one can explain, turning every familiar tool and method into something unreliable. Machines freeze at the same second across different locations, readings flip backward, and simple observations dissolve the moment they try to write them down. The sense that something is bending around them becomes impossible to ignore, as if the world is reshaping itself to hide whatever truth lies beneath these impossibilities. A quiet fear creeps in that the deeper they push, the more the rules around them will break. Their footsteps grow slower, their breaths tighter, and every whisper of doubt sounds louder than ever as the pattern twists into something far more complex than any of them imagine. The hallway tightens as the air shifts with a pressure that feels almost deliberate, each light flicker growing sharper and each shadow stretching just a little too long. Every attempt to uncover the truth behind the missing room fails, bending around small distortions that make the building feel alive with hidden intention. The structure holds its secrets close, resisting every pry and push, as though something inside it chooses what can and cannot be found. With every step, the sense deepens that the answers lie just beyond reach, trapped behind walls that refuse to behave like solid objects. Fear tugs at every thought, warning that continuing might reveal something they cannot ignore. The workshop fills with a sharp chill as the frozen signal begins to distort in new ways, breaking into patterns that seem almost deliberate. Each flicker of the waveform feels like a message caught in a loop, repeating itself while time slips around its edges. Their equipment, once steady and predictable, now fights against them with strange errors that make no sense. Every reading they take collapses into corrupted data, suggesting that the signal is affecting more than just the devices. It is changing the very moment in which they stand. A deep unease settles in as the idea grows that the signal may not be a message, but a doorway. The house creaks under a rhythm that no longer sounds natural, pulsing like a slow heartbeat, echoing through the floorboards and walls. Every tick from the clocks blends into a single continuous sound that vibrates the air with unsettling warmth. Their search reveals hidden mechanisms that should not exist, pieces of machinery built into the structure long before anyone should have been able to design them. Each new discovery suggests intent rather than accident, raising the fear that the house was constructed to influence time itself. The deeper they look, the more the shadows stretch in ways that feel like echoes of moments that have already happened. Across all locations, the tension reaches a point where the lines between the impossible clues begin to blur. The strange symbols, shifting rooms, frozen signals, and living clocks seem to echo one another, forming a pattern that grows clearer with every comparison. Yet with each breakthrough comes a deeper sense that the answers push against the limits of what they can grasp. The world feels stretched thin, trembling under the weight of something waiting to reveal itself. And just as they begin to piece the clues together, a new jolt of confusion shakes everything, hinting that the real truth lies beyond anything they have yet imagined. A quiet shift moves through each location as the pieces begin to align in ways none of them expected, forming patterns too precise to ignore. What once felt like separate mysteries now reflects the same strange pulse, repeating across time and distance. The air thickens with the sense that they are closing in on something carefully hidden, something powerful enough to bend the edges of reality. Each new clue sparks a mix of hope and dread as they realize the pattern may lead to an answer that does not belong to any known logic. The feeling grows that whatever they uncover next will change everything they thought they understood, and the silence around them waits like a held breath, ready to break. The hallway feels different now, as if the building itself senses their growing understanding. The walls seem to hum with a deeper resonance, and the faint tremor beneath the floor feels like a message pulsing through the structure. Every attempt to peel back layers of the hotel's design reveals another connection to symbols found elsewhere, pulling the mystery tighter around them. Each step brings a rising awareness that the missing room was never simply removed. It was hidden with intention. A slow dread builds as they begin to sense that uncovering its purpose might expose something far more dangerous than a simple secret. The signal's frozen pattern now seems less like a glitch and more like a repeating echo of something reaching out from another moment. Each flicker of the waveform aligns with symbols found in the other locations, creating a rhythm that feels intentional. The cold air deepens as the machines struggle to keep running, their screens shaking with bursts of static that pulse in perfect intervals. Unease settles heavier than before as the possibility grows that the signal is part of a design spread across places and years. The pressure builds with the fear that whatever this pattern leads to may already be unfolding. The ticking of the clocks blends into a single rolling hum as the house seems to respond to their discoveries, almost reacting to the symbols they uncover. Each hidden mechanism aligns more clearly with the shapes found in the other locations, forming a structure that appears carefully engineered. The air grows warm and heavy with the sense that the house was built as a key, one meant to unlock something none of them truly understand. Every step deepens the awareness that someone planned this connection long before any of them arrived, and the question of why grows larger with each passing moment. The pieces now press against one another with a clarity that feels both thrilling and terrifying. Every discovery leads to the same pattern, a repeating shape bridging the forest, the hotel, the signal, and the house. The air feels charged, trembling with the sense that all four places are parts of a single design. Their thoughts race between fear and fascination as they inch closer to the moment when the pattern will reveal what it truly represents. And beneath that rising tension lies a quiet certainty that whatever they uncover next will change everything they thought they understood about each mystery. A restless tension settles over every location as the pattern grows too clear to dismiss, yet too strange to fully understand. The clues no longer feel like coincidences, but pieces of a single design stretching across places and years. Each new observation pulls them closer to an answer they are not sure they want, and the sense that reality itself is bending around the truth becomes impossible to ignore. The air feels heavier, as if charged with something waiting to be revealed, and moments stretch uncomfortably long, echoing the frozen signal and the shifting shadows. The silence deepens into a warning, urging caution even as curiosity pushes them to keep going. Every instinct whispers that they have crossed a line where the familiar rules no longer apply. The hallway feels unstable now, as if the walls themselves shift with each breath. Light trembles against the floor in uneven pulses, and the strange engravings grow clearer the longer they stare. Every new sign points toward deliberate construction meant to hide something powerful, and the silence between each sound feels stretched thin. Doubt presses hard against them, trying to pull them back, but the need to understand pushes them forward. The atmosphere carries the weight of a place caught between two states, neither fully present nor fully gone, and they sense that opening the hidden space may reveal something far older than the hotel itself. Cold air rolls through the workshop in steady waves as the frozen signal shifts into new pulses, each one carrying the same repeating pattern found in the forest, hotel, and house. Every attempt to record the data results in strange distortions, as if the signal resists being captured. The thought grows that the transmission may not belong to the present moment at all, but instead echoes from a point outside normal time. The tension thickens with each flicker of the monitor, and the quiet dread in the room settles into something heavier, urging them to brace for whatever the next pulse brings. The house grows louder as its clocks shift from soft ticks to a steady, pulsing harmony that echoes through every beam and board. The sense that the structure was built with a purpose now becomes undeniable, and each new mechanism uncovered deepens the idea that time inside the house does not behave normally. Every step reveals another layer of carefully hidden design pointing toward the same repeating symbol. Shadows twist in slow arcs across the floor, and the warm air pulses with a rhythm that feels almost alive. A quiet realization settles that the house may not just hold the pattern. It may be the center of it. The connections between the four places now stand unmistakably clear, forming a pattern that stretches past coincidence and into something far more calculated. The weight of the discovery presses hard, filling each silent moment with a tremor of fear and anticipation. The clues no longer sit apart. They converge, pulling every step toward a single point, still hidden behind layers of mystery. The tension builds like a held breath, hinting that the next revelation will uncover the purpose behind the impossible events. And as they brace for what comes next, the air thickens with the sense that something long dormant is beginning to awaken. A heavy stillness settles as the pattern pulls them toward the final connection, the sense growing that everything they have uncovered has been leading to a single point hidden across time and place. The air thickens with a quiet pressure that feels almost expectant, as though something waits behind the thin veil separating the known from the impossible. Every sound seems stretched, every shadow feels heavier, and each step brings a rising awareness that the truth may be far stranger than anything they imagined. A soft pulse moves through the silence, echoing the symbols that guided them here, and the fear builds that the last piece of the puzzle will not offer comfort, but a deeper question waiting to break open the world they know. The hallway sharpens with a strange intensity, each vibration in the walls rising like a distant heartbeat, urging them toward the hidden space. The engravings align with a precision that defies coincidence, forming the same merged symbol seen in the forest and on the data. The air trembles as if the building is bracing for something, and the soft hum grows into a steady pulse that spreads through the floor. A sense of inevitability settles over them as they prepare to open what was never meant to be found. Every instinct screams to turn away, yet the pull of the truth is stronger than fear, and the next moment promises to change everything. The workshop fills with a rising pulse as the frozen signal breaks into a pattern that feels less like a transmission and more like an answer. The waveform stretches into a perfect arc before snapping back into stillness, as though reacting to events happening far away. Each device hums in unison with the repeating rhythm, pushing the idea that the signal connects directly to the other sites. A cold thrill runs through them as they realize the moments across all locations are aligned. The truth stands on the edge of revealing itself, wrapped in the same pulse that has echoed through every impossible clue. A vibration shudders through the house as the clocks slow to a near stop, their perfect rhythm breaking for the first time. The air turns heavy and warm, almost humming with anticipation, as if the structure itself knows the final moment has arrived. Shadows twist along the walls, forming shapes that echo the carved arcs. Every movement feels suspended, stretched between 2 seconds that refuse to pass. The sense grows that the house is reacting not to something inside it, but to something happening far beyond its walls. The truth presses close, begging to be seen, and every tick feels like the last before everything changes. A deep silence falls as all 4 locations seem to breathe in the same moment, bound together by a rhythm none of them can explain. The pattern forms fully at last, revealing a connection that stretches across time, shaping events long before any of them arrive. The truth hits with the force of a quiet shock. These places were never meant to be understood. They were meant to echo something hidden, something that still refuses to step into full clarity. As the symbols align and the pulse fades, one final question rises, lingering in the air like a whisper. If these clues were only the beginning, then what lies on the other side of the pattern, waiting to be found?